Back live. It's the third hour of the Alex Jones Show here. Live in studio with us is Mike Cernovich, dangerandplay.com, Guerrilla Mindset, MAGA Mindset. Mike, welcome back.
I'm with Paul the Great. I'm going to start calling PJW. I used to call him PJW. I'm now calling him Paul the Great. That's the hashtag we're starting, Paul the Great. We want Paul to believe in his own greatness. Paul is the greatest.
We need PJW to own his own greatness.
Yes, we had an intervention last night. I said, Paul, I go, some people think they believe their own hype. You don't believe your hype enough. You're greater than you accept. You have to embrace it.
I'm British, though.
Exactly.
I'm self-deprecating.
Right, so I had to do I had to stage a mindset intervention on him because he said, well, I'm British. And I go, I don't care. You're going to define yourself however you want to define you. So those of you who, fans of PJW, we're now calling him Paul the Great.
There you go. There's a hashtag. Let's get that trending. Mike, you've been in Austin for what, a few days now. How have you found it?
Food's great. Too much barbecue, though, man. Sodium, I got to find a sauna and get like 5 pounds of this water weight from all the sodium from all the barbecue. It's good, but, I got to meet the liberals at an anti-Trump rally, which was a lot of fun. That was fun. There, we got to get them all riled up, all fired up. We had a big meetup yesterday. A lot of people. Those of you listening in Austin, you are not alone. The fake news media wants you to believe that you're isolated. And even in a liberal enclave like Austin, Texas, I just had an informal happy hour. I didn't even announce the event in advance. I didn't even tell people where it was going to be until like 2 hours before.
Just a single tweet, right? You got like 75 people.
Yeah. Off and on 75 to 100, actually. People just kept pouring in. That was incredible. So don't listen to the fake news media. There are us everywhere. We are everywhere.
Now, let's get into the big story, Mike. Obviously, it broke late last night. You put it up on Medium. It was on your Twitter. We've got it up on Infowars.com right now. Google, this is a massive story. We've seen them manipulate elections. They had studies where they could manipulate simply by altering their algorithm. Up to 80 million undecided voters. They're doing it again in France. They're educating the French people on trust, on fake news. Now we have evidence of them directly targeting Infowars.com. Break it down for us.
Right. So we'll start from the beginning. Is a lot of people, when you want to learn about a new subject, what you do is you type in, whatever the subject is. Paul Joseph Watson, boom, you go into Google. What turns up in Google is based on an algorithm that Google wants to keep pure, because that way they can go to advertisers and other people and say, we don't manipulate search results manually. In fact, when there was a story that had broke several months before the election that Google had been caught manipulating this algorithm, and they freaked out because this big business, billions of dollars at stake, they want people to believe that they don't manipulate their algorithm. So what did they do? I got this tip from a very reliable source who works for Search Engine Integrity. These are the people who go through and they manually rate every article. So if they rate the article high, then the article is going to show up on page 1 of Google. Because remember, the war on Google is you want to be on page 1 Google. You want to be the #1 result on Google for whatever it is. So what they're doing now is they want to manually, and they've been instructed to, everybody who does this has been instructed to rate every article from Infowars.com, no matter how true it is, no matter how confirmed it is, to rate it as a low-quality article. What this will do is prevent Infowars from being on the first page of Google for any search result.
And when it happened with Facebook's trending list, it was a huge scandal. They had to apologize. They have to have big meetings with Glenn Beck, of all people, but several conservative commentators. They had to promise that they would change it, that it wouldn't be partisan, that it wouldn't be manipulated. Now it's happening with Google. But Mike, Google's a private company. They can do whatever they want, right?
Yeah, they're a private company. They can do whatever they want. Okay, great, sure. I'm a private person. I can do whatever I want. I can complain about it. I can criticize it. We can use the power of the free market. This is what cracks me up, where all these really weak-minded, they go, oh, Google's a private company. They can do whatever they want. Okay, then why are you complaining about me criticizing Google, right? So why do you criticize me for criticizing a massive globalist, multi-billion-dollar corporation? And moreover, this idea that they're a private company is belied by a couple points. One, Eric Schmidt conspired with Hillary Clinton's campaign. Hillary Clinton obviously was trying to be president. She was Secretary of State. Eric Schmidt had conspired with Barack Obama. So there is a conspiracy with Google and with the government. So if you're doing that, you now can't say you're a private corporation. You're a quasi-governmental entity, one. Two is that they keep going to Congress asking for things, asking for favors. This idea that they're just some private company, mom and pop shop, right? It cracks me up. Oh my God, they're just a private mom and pop shop. You know, you can't criticize them. These people hire lobbyists. They spend millions of dollars lobbying the government. It's not just some private company. That's such a joke of an argument.
And remember the scandal where you would type in Hillary Clinton is to the different search engines before the election. Bing, Yahoo, you know, Hillary Clinton is, the auto-suggestion would pop up a criminal.
Right.
Google, you didn't get that. You got the same on every other single search engine because they were fair, they were neutral, they were just putting out what was put in, what was being inputted. With Hillary, it was all censored, it was all sanitized. Hillary's good, Hillary's moral, right?
Exactly, and that led to a big outcry, and then Google said, well, we would never manipulate our search results manually.
Even though they were caught doing it flagrantly.
And now they're caught doing it again. That email was a mass email. The source told me, because I at first said, well, hey, can I post this? Are you going to get, you know, doxxed or blown up? And he goes, no, no, no. It went out to hundreds and hundreds, and if not thousands of people. So it was a mass email. So if anybody in the fake news wants to actually fact check it, just like I was right about Susan Rice, just like I was right about McMaster, just like PJW, Paul the Great, excuse me, and I was right about Hillary's health, you'll find out that this email went out to all of Google's contractors. There, you can find the email. So if you want to do some real journalism, rather than just write articles about Paul the Great's tweets, my tweets, how about instead of writing about our tweets and acting like, oh my God, they tweeted something today, let's turn it into an article, how about you actually do some real journalism and hold these big, massive, multi-billion-dollar corporations accountable, speak truth to power.
And the other issue, Mike, is on the private company argument, it's not this, it's a monopoly. I mean, come on, Google is basically the internet at this point. If you manipulate that, it's, you know, it's the equivalent, it is a telecommunications company at this point. It's a service, it's a public utility almost. It would be like cutting someone's electricity off if they had the wrong opinions at this point. It's got to that level. These social media companies, Google included, have said they want to be treated as public utilities. But then when they actually behave in a way that is manipulative, partisan, and they get called out on it, then they're just a private company again. You can't have it both ways.
Right, exactly. So what Paul the Great is talking about is how your cell phone company can't say, oh, I don't like how Cernovich uses Twitter. I don't like that he's so effective and he's world famous and is really taking on the establishment. I'm just going to deny him cell phone service. As a utility, you have to let people use your internet because they're all using infrastructure that was created in the public interest. They're all using that kind of infrastructure, okay? So Google, Twitter, and all those companies go, so that's what I mean by a public utility. The water company here can't say, well, we don't like InfoWars. They're too effective at taking on the globalists. We're just not going to provide water to the company. You can't do that. You're a utility. Everybody has to have equal access to it. So Google and Twitter and other social media companies have said, well, yeah, we're like a public utility. We are like a water company because there's great power in being treated like a utility. If you're a corporation and you're treated like a utility, the government won't regulate you under antitrust law. There's all these little perks that you get. Well, the flip side to that is you cannot manipulate your coverage or manipulate the utility to go after people you disagree with or go after political adversaries. You have to treat everybody equally under the same rules.
And if you go back to the article you just had up on screen, this was a few weeks ago. In fact, it was last month, I believe. They were caught delisting and relegating content. It was basically quite a prominent commentator who had put up a website about the religion of peace, Islam. She quoted passages out of the Quran, made the point that these aren't peaceful passages, killing all the infidels, etc. And they used that as the example, upsetting, offensive, to tell the truth about this belief system. That is relegated on Google. That is not going to be on the first page, whereas it was before. That's what they're doing with InfoWars. Mike, they directly mention InfoWars. This isn't just a general vague, oh, we're clamping down on fake news or whatever. InfoWars is the example mentioned in the document, right?
No, 100%. That is why immediately when I got it, I said I have to break this story. Last night, even though I had a big dinner with friends and, you know, I'd hung out, I had this huge meetup, met all these people. The day before, you know, somebody tried to sucker punch me. I had to hit him. It's been a busy week for me. But on Sunday night, because I view this as not only an attack on InfoWars, it is an attack on everybody listening and watching. If they take down InfoWars, we're all done. None of us are safe. This is the way I read it. I didn't say this is an attack on InfoWars. I go, this is an attack on me, because InfoWars is on the vanguard, and if they can take down InfoWars, they can take down everybody. Nobody have free speech. Nobody listening here will have free speech.
Now, what's the solution, Mike? You were talking last night about flash mobs, about getting people physically out in front of a Google headquarters and speaking truth to power.
So as you can see, I'm fired up. I was talking to some people. You know, I'm not going to tell you who I was talking to because I don't know if they've mentioned what had happened, the meeting we had. But look, goes like this. We need to get 500 people, 1,000 people up to Google's headquarters and have a freedom rally. We need to get Paul the Great's people, my people, all the InfoWars, everybody listening here. We need to have a big, peaceful, friendly party in front of Google headquarters to support free speech, to support the right of everybody to have equal treatment under these utility rules, because again, they said they wanted to be treated like utility, so now we're going to hold them to their word. I imagine this. Oh, we're going out?
We got 30 seconds.
I imagine a big party. We need to plan it. I want 500 people. I want 1,000 people, microphones. I want everybody there. Have a good time, peacefully in front of Google. More on that after the break.
We will be back in the next segment to talk about Antifa, to talk about conservatives being directly targeted with Mike Cernovich, dangerandplay.com. Huge news coming up, Infowars.com. We'll be back. We are back on the Alex Jones Show with Mike Cernovich. We're going to delve back into Google and related topics in a second. First, I want to tell you about the specials we have at InfoWarsStore.com, the Easter Mega Specials Extended. For a limited time only, 30% off Brain Force. That is the one I'm taking. I'm on it right now with jet lag and 2 hours sleep, and it's working absolute wonders. 30% off Brain Force. This gives you energy, mental clarity. It doesn't give you that junk, buzzy feeling, that bad after feeling that you get from some similar nootropic products. It is Brain Force. It's 30% off at InfoWarsStore.com. Super Male Vitality, 25% off. Several other massive discounts. InfoWarsStore.com. We're under constant, sustained attack from the establishment every single day. We're not beholden to the same interests they are, which is why we have complete autonomy over our message. We're beholden only to you, and we appreciate your support by getting the products at InfoWarsStore.com with those specials extended for a limited time only. Huge discounts, InfoWarsStore.com. Mike,
yeah, it's so important.
Back.
Yeah, I mean, we're back. It's so important, you know, like, even if people don't take supplements, if you use toothpaste, buy the toothpaste. And by the way, I'm not paid to be here, you know, just for everybody knows. But that's the whole thing is, if buy your toothpaste, you got to realize it is a direct attack. They've cut off the Google AdSense. They're losing $5 million. I took a tour of this place. I couldn't believe how big it is. They're expanding the operations. I'm not being paid for being here to say this, but I believe that you have to support people who are supporting you. So even people who don't want to take the supplements, or maybe they don't want to take that for whatever reason, everybody needs toothpaste. Get the toothpaste. Every little thing that people do, nothing you do is too small. Even if all you do is share a link too. That's what I tell people. If Google wants to shut people down, share links. Buy toothpaste. Buy the supplements. Don't ever feel insignificant. Don't ever feel like you're not doing enough. Every little thing you do helps, because if all the tens of millions of people in America, the freedom fighters, all unite, and even if they only do one quote-unquote little thing, you have a massive, massive tsunami of support.
Mike, we got this breaking article at Infowars.com. Google RoboTool flags conservative comments as toxic. So it's not just the content of the article. Now it's the comments as well. Major mainstream news websites have removed their comment sections altogether. That's been happening for years now. And it's because, and they've done studies on this, the comments have more impact, have more influence on how the reader judges the content than the content of the article itself. That's why they've declared war on comment sections, because again, they're losing the debate. So now the Google AI tool used to flag offensive comments as a seemingly built-in bias against conservative and libertarian viewpoints. So if you put in global warming is fake, it's 39% toxic compared to only 2% toxic for global warming is real. That's how they decide which one gets censored. So they're now targeting the comments as well.
Yeah, exactly. And that is why when I said earlier at the segment, this is not an attack on Alex Jones. This is an attack on everybody. You can't even leave comments. Somebody, I can't remember who said this. You can tell me maybe who said it is. They go, the election was the war against the commenters in the comment section versus the article itself. I can't remember who said that, but that was such an astute observation, which is that the people would speak out. And populism is the new punk rock, it's the new counterculture. The people speaking out against this globalist elite who are all on the payroll. They're all told what to say. I mean, that's why you know, I don't even read all the articles about me, and I don't read any articles about the Paul the Great either, because they're all the same thing. Because they all take their talking points from their same owners. They're all owned by the same corporations. 6 corporations own 90% of all media. You can all look up media ownership and concentration. So what happened is people would read an article, and it was a psychological war for your mind, because people read an article, and the article basically says, everybody who supports Trump is a neo-Nazi who hates women and probably, commits domestic violence. And people read that and they go, I don't believe that. If you go to the comment section, you have people pushing back, and now you feel connected. There's a human connection component to it. So the fake news people said, oh man, we better close the comments. We want people to feel isolated and alone. That is why community is so important, and that is why we have to organize a big major event at Google headquarters. I'm thinking, if we have to bust people in, we just need to get everybody who wants to speak for freedom and to stand up against this censoring the comments, against censoring the search results, microphones, podiums, the A-list speakers. We need that. We need the people to show up in massive numbers and push back.
And it's always one thing or the other. It's either no comments because nobody's reading the article, or they're getting absolutely eviscerated in the comments, which is why those big mainstream news outlets have removed the section altogether, because that is having a huge influence. Now they're censoring it because of offensive comments made by conservatives. We'll be back. Stay right there. We are back live. It is the Alex Jones Show. We're here with Mike Cernovich. The website is medium.com/@Cernovich. That is where you will find all Mike's breaking news articles, which in almost every occasion over the past few weeks or so get plagiarized by the mainstream media 3 days later, and they give you zero credit, but you're discredited, you're fake news, even though they just copy the exact same story and claim credit for it. But the website is medium.com/@Cernovich. Mike, I want to talk about a tweet. I mean, you put this story out before, but there was a tweet this morning by Jack Posobiec, who's been on the show. He tweeted today about a 7-figure contract for neocons to conduct crafted hit jobs on prominent Trump supporters. We saw it already with Milo back a couple of months ago. This is the Reagan Battalion. This is basically, they succeeded to some extent in forcing Milo to back away a couple of months ago. Basically, cowards who hide behind a Twitter account. They don't even show their face.
But it's verified. How's it verified?
Exactly. They tweeted Saturday. This is what they tweeted, quote, "We have been paid, but told to work on big fish only." So they admit they're being paid to do hit pieces on prominent Trump-supporting commentators. My question is, Mike, paid by who?
Yes, I explained to people they're being paid by the Saudi Arabians because the Saudis use, this all goes back to McMaster and Petraeus. Petraeus has taken over control of the National Security Council and has been working to squeeze out Bannon and to hype up General McMaster, former General McMaster, because McMaster wants a massive ground war in Syria, which, by the way, is a story I broke. People called it fake, and then Bloomberg confirmed it, and then suddenly it was another big scoop or whatever. So right now, what is going on? If you are people, I can tell you right now, if you tweet at me anything nice, there's going to be an army of shills. And I broke this story actually on Alex Jones about all this money. A 7-figure contract went out. So what they're doing is they're attacking and singling out people one by one in an attempt to discredit and divide the movement. And some people, I'm not going to mention his name on camera because I don't want to give him more publicity because he's ineffective and a loser. But he's also taking neocon money. And that is why you see a lot of infighting. People like Paul the Great, people like me, we've been around for years, right? We didn't just surface because of the Trump thing. We have been around for years fighting for freedom, fighting for free speech. And then some people kind of got into it just because they could use Trump to build their brand, and now money is going out to those people. So there is a massive public relations contract going out. They want to discredit everybody who opposes a massive ground war in the Middle East because there is so much money to be made in war, so much money to be made in fake news, that people like us and their view it's worth spending $1 million to try to silence us.
I know people, Mike, that are just up-and-coming people who have Vice writers approach them for interviews. They agree to the interview. Then they troll back through their personal Facebook pages years and years. And in this example, it was a young guy who works for The Rebel. He's only, what, 22, 23 years old. They trolled back to 2011, 2012, found him like in drunk photos on Facebook when he was a teenager having fun, asked him pointed questions, found his parents' name, dug into his parents' background. It was creepy, stalker-like behavior. There seems to be this intense focus on not just up-and-coming people, prominent people, to try and personally attack them, bring them down. This seems like part of the full frontal war that we're being subjected to right now.
Yeah, it's totally creepy. I've had it done to me for years, so to me it's just another day at the office. People digging up stuff, photoshopping stuff, making up stuff that you never even said, taking things that were satirical and acting like that was actually meant literally. So I'm used to it every day, and I think it's fun. I think it's fun, but if you're a 22-year-old and you're not really set financially, that's going to intimidate and scare off a lot of people, because everybody has said something that they didn't mean. Maybe they had a little alcohol, maybe they weren't clear with their thoughts. So what they're doing is they're sending a message that anybody who's a freedom fighter, anybody who's standing up for what's right, anybody who's standing up for Americana and Americans and real Americans are going to have all of their worst moments broadcast to the world, and they're going to treat your worst moment as if that is who they are as a person. It's quite disgusting.
And they always have to troll back years. I mean, they did it with Tommy Lauren, right? And it's these young kids are like 23, 24. Of course, they're going to have slightly embarrassing tweets from 5 years ago.
Yeah, Tommy Lauren.
It's not long since they were that age. They were 18, right. 19.
Yeah, I mean, Tommy Lauren, they're like, oh, she was dancing on a table. Like, okay, so?
5 years ago, big deal.
Okay, yeah, big deal. She was in college, you know, maybe does a little bit of basic stuff. Nobody really cares, and that's what they do. And then they also, what they'll do is they'll take satirical stuff and then they'll treat it as literally true. That's like another like textbook game. So if you go, so one time I said like, oh, chemtrails are real kind of thing. And they'll say, oh, is that, what are you really saying here? It's like, come on, guys, they're just memes. People talk about memes all the time, but they'll just say, even if you're trying to just use memes, they'll try to use that against you. But again, for me, it's fun. I get a rush out of it because I enjoy conflict. I enjoy when they're attacking me. It just reminds me that I'm winning and they're losing. Paul the Great's doing like 250 million views every month. I'm doing like 150. I mean, if you think about it, these people who hate on us, they can't get a retweet. They can't get a like. They
don't resonate. They have zero audience. I mean, I've done a running thing. Every time I visit Austin, I go out and meet Anthony Gucciardi. We take a picture as if we're a couple on a date. Yes. It's a running joke. The next day, there's already a YouTube video with 10,000 views. Secret gay relationship exposed. It's just hilarious.
Yeah, they
bait these people so easily as well.
Yeah, well, they did that when you were in, I think, Budapest, and you go, we're checking out the gay nightlife scene, and then suddenly, you know, there's a whole articles. Oh yeah, he's really gay. So, first of all, like, who cares? Anyway? One is like, who cares? Why is this newsworthy? Why is it that everything like he tweets or I tweet? Why is it somehow a news cycle? But that's how
dig up a real story.
Yeah, do something like Google. Like the real research is Google is now manipulating its search results to push a narrative. That's a real story. And then I don't know if we wanted to talk about how Wall Street Journal plagiarized. There's so much news, guys. This is the thing about like why it's so fun to be alive and why they're trying to discredit us. We talked about the stories we're going to talk about. There's so much going on we can't even cover it all. We need more truth tellers to join the fight, and that is why they're attacking you. So every day the fake news media is going after you. Support these people because it's demoralizing for people who don't do this for a living. It's demoralizing for people who don't get off on it. But yeah, the Wall Street Journal, they plagiarized Breitbart. They stole a story that Breitbart had published in November, and then they published it their own yesterday. They're just really nasty people, these fake news people. I consider Wall Street Journal fake news, by the way.
And of course, they were the ones who went after PewDiePie when he slightly deviated from making videos about playing video games and, you know, mindless comedy, slightly deviated, started talking about trust in mainstream media declining. That threat, the fact that he's got 55 million subscribers, that led to a full-on onslaught against somebody who was just primarily a video gamer on YouTube. That's how afraid they are.
Right, and so for those of you who aren't listening in, there's a video game guy. He has 55 million subscribers on YouTube, maybe 58. There's so many you can hardly keep track. He's highly popular, and he started to talk about freedom. He was not even a pro-Trump guy. He just started talking about freedom. He started questioning the media narrative. So what they did was dug up videos where he was making fun of Nazis. He was making fun of neo-Nazism, and lifted his hand up in a mock gesture. And then the Wall Street Journal, which just plagiarized Breitbart because they can't do real journalism, the Wall Street Journal screen capped that and said PewDiePie is actually a Nazi. Look at him do the Nazi salute. They completely omit the fact that he was actually making fun of the neo-Nazi kind of stuff. And that's, again, what they do is if you do satire, the treat as real. But then what they did was even more dirty. And it shows you how evil these massive globalist corporations are. So PewDiePie had a massive deal with YouTube. He had a big show coming out with Disney. He was making big moves. He was making big money, as were many people on YouTube. Not only did they falsely accuse him of being a Nazi, they took those pictures to YouTube. They took them to the advertisers, and they said, how can you advertise on a Nazi channel? How can you advertise on the Nazi channel? And that's what started the whole demonetization trend, isn't it? Exactly. It snowballed after that. What's interesting is that PewDiePie followed Stefan Molyneux and yours truly a couple of weeks after that Wall Street Journal hit piece. Now, isn't that interesting, Mike? That could lead to something, couldn't it? It is. And then they went after JonTron's show. That's so selfishly, as a man of principle, what they did to PewDiePie was wrong. I disavow it. That is fake news. I'm opposed to it. As a man in a fight to save Western civilization, looking for people to join the fight, looking for people to push back on globalism, I say thank you, fake news. Thank you for showing all of PewDiePie's 55 million viewers and subscribers who know what's in his heart. Thank you for falsely accusing him of being a Nazi, because now they won't trust you, which means they're going to trust InfoWars. They're going to trust Paul the Great. They're going to trust me. Please spread more fake news on PewDiePie. Spread more fake news on JonTron. Spread fake news on all of these people with massive fan bases. That way their viewers in real time can be red-pilled and learn that you're all fake. I beg you, more fake news. Give it to us.
Now, shifting topics, Mike, let's talk about what happened at the Capitol. We had the Battle of Berkeley. We'll get onto that in a second. But you were at the Capitol here in Austin for another anti-Trump temper tantrum from the leftists. Tell us what happened.
Yeah, I don't know if the people have the videos or everything that we could load up, but I went to the anti-Trump rally. Give us your tax returns. It was the most low-energy, pathetic. There was like 500 people there.
The tax returns.
So boring. Still, yeah, they were talking about the tax returns.
Rachel Maddow disaster.
So I go there, and I'm doing just the Periscope streaming, and it's kind of low energy, and I'm sitting there, and I keep inching towards the microphone. And as I'm sitting there, I start doing the chants with the people. They kind of think I'm one of their own. And then I thought to myself, I said, should I get up on the microphone and say Bill Clinton is a rapist? And then I go, well, what would they do to me? If I were holding an event, what would they do to me? I go, not only would they come and take the microphone, but they would be violent. So I said, I'm going to wait till this guy gets off the microphone. And right as he leaves, I'm going to get up there and I'm going to say Bill Clinton is a rapist. So I wait. I'm sitting. I'm waiting. I'm waiting for the right moment. The guy's leading them in chants. He says, thank you for coming out. Right as he moves, I stand up, I walk, I go to the stage, and I get the microphone, and I say, Bill Clinton is a rapist. He raped Juanita Broderick. The media covered it up. Bill Clinton's a rapist. The crowd goes
within
wild.
Seconds they were around you, right?
The crowd freaks out. Boo, they're flipping me off. The mask came off. These are not peaceful people. These are very mentally unhealthy, unstable people. They came, and of course, they cut the microphone off. They rushed the stage. They were surrounding me. They were pushing me. They were shoving me. They were screaming at me. They were putting signs in the face. Actually, I can barely hear out of my right ear today because they were just screaming and shoving me. And, it was basically assault, but not a big deal. So I'm walking, and so the police go, hey, man, these people are unstable. Would you just leave, even though you have a right to be here? Would you just leave because we can't trust these people not to riot? And I said, of course, I'm pro-ethical law enforcement. I'm pro-police. Blue Lives Matter. So we're walking. We're walking down. It's me, two police behind me. Joe Biggs is there to my left. As I'm walking down, I see a guy kind of start sprinting towards me. So I see him in my peripheral. I said, is this guy going to try to sucker punch me? Is this guy going to get violent, this feral leftist?
Punch a Nazi.
Is he going to do it? Is he going to do it? Yeah, so here's, on the screen, the people screaming at me. So, and then after this, I'm being walked away by the police. I see a guy come to my left. He comes over. He takes a swipe at me. Doesn't hit me because I move my head. Knocks my phone out. So I turn around and I go whoosh. And you can hear my fist collide with the face. The guy literally started crying. That is why there's no video of me punching him in the face, because it was self-defense legally. The police laughed because the guy who thought he was going to be a tough guy, thought he was going to hit me, he actually started crying live. It was hilarious. And then I looked at the police and they laughed and they go, we saw what happened. You're good to go. So that really does show you that if you are at these events, these people are there. They are in a cult. They are in a cult. They are violent. They're feral people. You should not go to an event. You can look at the anger, the rage, the animosity that they all have towards me, the screaming. Look at that. These are not healthy people. Imagine if Trump people acted like that. That would be on CNN. This is what the fake news covers up. And this is why the fake news wants to shut down InfoWars, wants to shut us all down, because you'll never see that on CNN. You'll never watch that in the fake news. That is the left today. Nothing but anger and toxicity.
Can't debate. They don't have an argument. That's why they're trying to shut us down, because they can't compete on a level playing field. It's just autistic screeching. It's violence. It's confrontation. They've got absolutely nothing. That coincided, Mike, with what happened at Berkeley, the Battle of Berkeley. I think it was quite decisive. Who won the battle this time? Break it down. What happened?
Okay. So as we know, if you want to attend an event with Paul the Great, Milo, Alex Jones, Stefan Molyneux, anybody who, Jim Hoft, Gateway Pundit, anybody who is just off narrative, the left will show up and they will beat you. They will beat women. They will throw bricks at your children. They will pepper spray women. So what happened is people learned that the police will not protect you. In a liberal city like Berkeley, they are issued stand-down orders. The police are told, just let Trump supporters get beat up. Just let the freedom fighters get beat up. Let the Antifa, which is a domestic terrorist organization, let Antifa, the domestic terrorist organization, beat these people up, including women. So they wanted to have a free speech rally. The people realized that if you want to have a free speech rally, you're going to have to bring your own protection detail, your own security detail. So in the streets of Berkeley, Antifa got to decide, got to see for themselves who can do it better. You want to meet in the streets? Paul the Great, he's a pacifist more so than I am. I want to fight, but I just got to make sure you hit me first kind of thing. Paul the Great is just total pacifist, right?
We disavow, but they set the rule where it's okay to punch somebody because you disagree with them politically.
Exactly.
Well, you reap what you sow. If you go back to the article you had up on screen from Heat Street before with the woman being punched, she put out on Facebook, the woman on the left,
yes,
she was going to punch a Nazi. She assaulted this guy again.
She was choking him, yeah.
We disavow any violence, but if you watch the actual video, she attacked him first. This is what happened to her. Now, she's whining about being injured. She's whining about being doxxed on the internet. This is a member of Antifa. Their speciality is doxing people. They tried to get my address. They turned up at my friend's address a mile down the road. So you reap what you sow, Mike. Now they're all out there whining about being attacked and doxxed. Well, they brought it on themselves.
And they got steamrolled. So here's what they miscalculated, right? This is not the National Review. This is not these weak people like William F. Buckley who says, oh, if they spit on your face, just let them spit on your face. Let them hit you. The Antifa, domestic terrorist organization, which is also a tool of the media incites them to violence. They want to find out what's going to happen. I disavow political violence, but I can tell you one thing. If it gets hot, I know what side is going to win.
And there are more videos. Antifa was later chased off. It was a decisive, clear victory. We'll be back with the final segment of this hour on the Alex Jones Show Live with Mike Cernovich, Infowars.com. Stay right there. We are back with Mike Cernovich. It's the Alex Jones Show Live with me, your host, Paul Joseph Watson. First, I want to tell you again about the specials because your support has been so crucial, especially over the past couple of weeks with these sustained attacks that continue day by day. But we've managed to survive and thrive despite the ad roll, despite the Google attacks, despite the YouTube demonetization. purely through your support. We don't get cut fat checks by George Soros. We don't sell pharmaceutical advertising. We don't take money from Gulf state dictatorships like CNN. But then we're bad, we're discredited because we sell nutritional products. God forbid. You don't believe that because you've been getting them at InfoWarsStore.com. Again, 30% off Brain Force, 25% off Super Male Vitality. Vitamin Mineral Fusion, 25% off. Vitamin B12, massive discounts extended for a short time only at InfoWarsStore.com. It is the Easter special. We also have Survival Shield X2 Nascent Iodine. Again, read the reviews. Independent, third-party, 5-star verified reviews. We had the toothpaste, as Mike said earlier. Look, you're going to get fluoride-free toothpaste anyway. That's just a staple now. Why not get it from us? Support the growth of this network, the survival of this network, as we're constantly sniped and attacked. We are fighting back, and you're helping us do it by getting the products at InfoWars Life and InfoWarsStore.com. Mike, you've had a lot of attention from the mainstream media over the past 3 weeks. You had the 60-minute special. You've broken huge story after huge story. What led up to that process, and what's next for Mike Cernovich?
Man, I don't know. They're trying to take me down. You know, every day they're trying to take me down. More lies, more hit pieces, and all that I'm saying is that we are growing and the truth is getting out there. So I don't even know what is going on anymore because so many people are waking up. Every time we're out in public, you know, people know us, people talk to us. The freedom fighters are out there. So what is next? More community and more meetups. I'm having a big event with Gateway Pundit. They're going to be there. That's April 29th. I'll announce the exact details later. So I'll be in D.C. April 29th, and I want a big march on Google. I want everybody there to show up. People need community. Everybody right now feels isolated because of the fake news media lying to you all the time, but we're out there. We need to form our own real-life social network. We need to be having monthly meetups, monthly happy hours in cities all across the world. And then we're going to, we're taking control. We're taking our country back. That's what's next.
And again, that is crucial to have those meetups because it's not something that we've done generally as conservatives, is it? It's not what we're known for. There is this accusation that people are hiding behind Twitter accounts. It is key. It is crucial to get out there physically, meet people of like mind, because you know the left is going to do that. You know they're going to march and say, whose streets, our streets. Well, now that's beginning to be rolled back. We saw what happened in Berkeley. We've clearly got the numbers. They haven't.
Yeah, exactly. So I actually tweeted out whose streets because I'd covered all the protests, and that's what the protesters on the left would say, whose streets, our streets. So I tweeted out after the Battle of Berkeley, whose streets. And the left was completely triggered. This is disgusting. I can't believe it. Wait, because we've appropriated your memes and we've appropriated what you're doing. So what a lot of people don't realize is things that we do wrong on the right. We don't do activism well, and we don't coordinate. So Paul LeGrade will tell you, we don't talk about what we're going to tweet about. We don't have a meeting. There is no right-wing conspiracy. And in a way that works to our detriment because a lot of times we're off message. So we need more community, more connection, more activism, more happy hours, more meetups, call them what you want. We're going to march on Google. That's what we're going to do.
We're going to come back in the final segment, final few minutes with Mike Cernovich. We'll tell you how you can help. Breaking news at Infowars.com. Next segment coming up. Stay right there. And we are into the 4th hour. David Knight is coming up in a few minutes with huge, fresh breaking news, but we've got the final few minutes here with Mike Cernovich. Mike, they were completely shocked that Hillary lost the election. They never saw it coming. Their own hubris tripped them up, 99% chance of Hillary winning. She lost. They were shocked. They were shell-shocked. Now we're getting the backlash. We've often had this debate of, if Hillary had have won, InfoWars would have been shut down. They would have come after us. I kind of think it's happening anyway. Maybe it's even worse now. Maybe if Hillary had have won, they'd have got the political power. They might have backed off. They might have treated us less importantly because they thought we had less power. Do you think the fact that she lost and they were so shocked by it has made that backlash even more intense in a way?
They're vindictive people. I don't think they would have ever backed off. That hasn't been true. But that's one way to look at it is maybe they would have. They are looking for scapegoats, and I think it's funny because This is how dumb these people are on Twitter. Glenn Greenwald, who's a progressive Bernie Sanders supporter, said, why hasn't there been a post-mortem for the DNC? Why haven't they realized that running a globalist candidate with Parkinson's disease was a bad idea? And I retweeted it, and now they're trying to say, oh, wow, Glenn Greenwald got retweeted by Mike Cernovich, and that becomes a story. That is how basic and just dumb they are. They don't get it. Hillary Clinton sucks. The message to the left is bad. There's terrorism everywhere. There are rape mobs. You can't go in Sweden. You can't even have a festival hardly. They almost canceled the beer festival in Munich, Oktoberfest. There's rape everywhere. Rape is everywhere in Europe. People watched it in real time. Remember how the fake news media refused to cover the Cologne sexual attacks?
Yeah, they covered it up for days.
So people now realize there's rape everywhere in Europe. There are rape mobs roving where it's not even safe. They don't want that. The people don't want that. I have a daughter. I have a wife. People don't want the government importing massive rape mobs.
And
but
they're living it day to day. So they know that when the mainstream lies and say it's all creation of the hateful right wing, they know it's not true because they live in these areas where these migrants are being brought in. And they are being brought in. That's the point I made. The boats go out 11 miles off the coast of Libya and bring them in like a taxi service. The EU, these NGO groups are doing this. They're using these migrants as a weapon against the West.
And they want to blame you. They want to blame InfoWars. They want to attack all of us rather than just say, wow, maybe our ideas suck. Maybe our ideas are bad. Maybe they're terrible. They want to go after us. But I know that as the segment ends, I'm going to have some bone broth. So I definitely got to try the bone broth stuff that Alex Jones has, the new product, because I'm really into that stuff. It's good for the collagen growth I've been taking.
I think you've definitely earned it, and the skincare tips were really appreciated as well.
Well, I think InfoWars needs a skincare line, but that's a different subject. But yeah, I haven't tried the Caveman True Paleo formula, so I can't, I only endorse things that I use and I believe in. So I haven't tried it yet, but and by the way, guys, he'll tell you, I'm honest, I'm not getting paid for this. They're doing me a favor by having me on. So nobody's paying me to plug anything, but I practice what I preach. They're doing great things. They're breaking news, and I'm going to support it in any way that I possibly can.
And there's no way you're going to shame us out of selling products. God forbid we're selling products that people give 5-star reviews for. We're not taking fact checks from George Soros. We're not funded literally like CNN by Gulf state dictatorships who pay them to produce puff pieces about how great Bahrain is as they're literally mowing down protesters on the street.
Yeah, there's a reason you never find any critical news coverage of Saudi Arabia, even though women are oppressed in Saudi Arabia. The Saudis gave money to the Clinton Foundation to buy children from Haiti. They're bombing the amazing Christians. They're killing Christians everywhere. You'll never see that in the fake news because Saudi Arabia owns American media. You, the people, own InfoWars by supporting them daily.
That's going to wrap it up for the show. David Knight is coming up. You can check out Cernovich at Cernovich on Twitter or medium.com/@Cernovich. David Knight coming up, 4th hour, fresh breaking news, Infowars.com.